then. Morning, morning, all. Morning. Now, I know I have banged on about social media and the demons and all the nightmares that social media can bring. And I know I can be a bit disparaging about it, but actually, I confess, I use social media. I do have a little look at Instagram. I use Facebook for business. And one of the good things I think about it is if you're careful about who you follow when you're choosy about that, like with anything in life, there's a wonderful pocket of creativity out there with people who are self-publishing, artists, poets, writers who are sharing their stuff for free, which is wonderfully generous of them. And there's a particular poet I follow online, and she's called Uli K. And I read one of her poems a few weeks ago, and I thought, what a lovely theme for a yoga class. So we'll start with her lovely words, and we'll let that theme pervade our practice today if we can. So the poem is called Still by Uli K. And she said, being still does not mean the absence of noise, but rather the ability to sift through the chaos to find silence. Knowing with confidence that you will remain present and peaceful and hope-filled and grounded despite what disaster the storm may have planned. I thought those are lovely words because, in this busy and noisy world that we live in, we can't always, kind of whip off to Bali for some yoga retreat and utter tranquility in order to practice our yoga. And yet it's about being able to drop into that kind of inner sanctuary within us when everything else is kind of happening around us. And that's when we know we've kind of got the gift of yoga. So we'll let that pervade our practice today, those lovely words. I'll keep kind of coming back to those as we start lying down on our backs today, guys. So as ever, if you want a little blanket or pillow to put underneath your head or underneath your hips, feel free. Let's bring the knees up towards the chest. It's early on, it's a little bit colder this morning, so let's just have a little self-soothe from side to side, little rock. Maybe take your knees round in a circle, feel free, or have a little roll across the back of your head there. Just ease your way down onto your mat. And then we'll bring the feet down to the floor. Let's keep the knees bent initially. Feet on the floor, take them a little bit wider apart so you can rest your knees against each other. And then we make those kind of micro adjustments to get comfortable. I always like to lift my hips up and kind of lengthen my tailbone away from me. Arch my chest a little bit, arch my back so I can tuck my shoulder blades down away from my ears, and just allow the arms to drop down either alongside you, or if you've had a bit of a morning or a week and you want that extra connection and comfort with your body, with your breath, then just place a hand very tenderly on your chest and one on your belly. If you're comfortable, let's close the eyes for a moment. I'm just going to come up to seated so I can talk to you. Closing the eyes, take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And as you breathe out, let's start that journey inwards. So beginning to let whatever trials and tribulations, elations and frustrations that might have coloured your week thus far, just letting them drop away. So you can continue your practice unencumbered by all of that noise and stuff that tends to make up our days. And seeing if we can begin to sift through all of that to find that inner stillness, that inner quietude that's always there, ever present, if we learn how to just sift through all of the extraneous nonsense that goes on around us. So let's start by focusing in on our breath, not worrying if your breath changes a little bit as you begin to shift the focus onto it. It might speed up, it might slow down. So once it's settled into a nice, satisfying and comfortable rhythm that you can sustain throughout your practice today, just notice where you're feeling the breath in the body this morning. It's a little bit colder, so we might notice that on these colder, chillier days, our breath tends to reside a little bit higher in our chest initially. So that might take a few moments, a few minutes even, to drop into that lovely yogic belly breathing. So feeling the chest and the belly rising and falling in unison with your breath. Getting that lovely sense of filling up as you breathe in. And then letting go of something somewhere as you breathe out. Let's just take a couple more of those so we can begin again to tune back into our bodies and our breath this morning. Remembering in its simplest and purest form that yoga is all about the breath. We kind of layered up and added the movement, but never being worried about taking a child pose or pausing for a moment to reconnect with your breath in your practice. And so if you've got your hands resting on your chest and your belly, let's all just bring the hands down to the floor, turning the palms down toward the floor, and just have a little tap on the floor with your fingers and your thumbs there as though you're kind of gently playing the piano. It's beginning to wake up through the hands. And then turning your palms up towards the ceiling, just start to open and close your hands a few times. You might wrap your thumb in the center of your palm with your fingers on top. You might wrap your thumb on top of your fingers. You might even alternate between the two. You have a little stretch of the hand, opening up through the palms. And then keeping the hands open now, just prop yourself up on your elbows so your fingertips point up towards the ceiling as you take a few circles through the wrists. Keeping the fingers moving, first in one direction, there might be some clicks and crunches, and then the opposite way, a little bit colder so the joints need a little bit more TLC at this time of year. And then we'll place the hands down alongside you, palms down, lengthening fingertips towards your heels. We'll keep the knees bent to begin with. On your next breath in, let's float both arms back above your head, exploring how the shoulders feel. Maybe finding the floor behind you, and then as you exhale, lower the arms all the way down. And just carrying on with your breath. Really simple start this morning. And if you want to modify it and you just want to reach the arms up towards the ceiling rather than back behind you, go ahead and do that. If you want to move one arm at a time, feel free to change. So moving with that coordination with your breath, but equally mindful of how the shoulders feel, maybe widening your arms into a nice V shape rather than having them alongside your ears. Let's do that just one more time. So floating the arms, keep a little softness at the wrists there. And exhale, let's bring both hands all the way back down, and then we'll walk the feet in. And bring one knee and then the other in towards your chest with the hands on the knees. And we'll start to circle the knees in an individual circle. So like you're doing a lazy breaststroke with the legs. Taking the legs round, warming up into the hips now. And you might notice as you bring your knees in towards your chest, a little rounding through the lower back. And then as you take the knees further away from you, you might feel your lower back arches a little bit. Trying to relax the lower legs. And then we'll just change direction. So the heels are dropping down towards your bottom. The hands are just steering the knees round in opposite directions. So little circles, individual circles. Lovely. And then we'll bring both knees in towards your chest. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, give those knees a squeeze. Maybe feel your tailbone lift a little from the floor. And then as you inhale, release. Just maybe push the knees away from you a little ways, hands on the knees. And then as you exhale again, let's give those knees a little squeeze in towards your chest, tailbone lifting. One more time, inhale, pushing those knees away from you. Feel the lower back maybe arch a little bit. This time as you exhale, knees coming in and maybe lifting head and shoulders, coming into a little ball. Pause, notice how far away your nose is from your knees. Might be a very long way, lovely. And then let's lower the head, lower the shoulders. Allow your feet to come down to the floor, hip width apart, and the arms to come down alongside you. So let's lift the hips as you reach both arms back this time into a little shoulder bridge, adding those arms we've just done, lengthening through the sides of the body. And then let's lower the arms as you bring the hips all the way back down alongside you. Lovely. So let's bring those knees back in towards the chest. Give them a little squeeze and maybe lift your nose up towards your knees, rounding the back. Lovely, bringing the feet down as you bring the arms all the way down alongside you, palms to the floor. And then pressing into the feet, floating the arms all the way up and back as you lift the hips into a little shoulder bridge. And then carefully rolling your way back down, lowering the hips, lowering the arms. Let's do that twice more. So we bring the knees in towards the chest. And then give them that little squeeze. You can keep your head and shoulders on the floor or tuck your chin and roll on up. And then the head and shoulders come down as you lower the feet. Let the arms drop. And then press into your feet as you float the arms all the way up and back, maybe coming up a little bit higher now. And then rolling your way back down. Really get that sense of creating space between each vertebra as you bring the hips back down to the floor. Let's do that just one more time. So knees coming up. Giving them that little squeeze. Option again to lift on up. Chin tucking in. And then head and shoulders coming all the way back down as you let the arms fall alongside you. Let's come up into that shoulder bridge, reaching the arms all the way back. And let's pause in the shoulder bridge now. So arms lengthen back, knees stretching forwards. Just add a little squeeze at the bottom so the hips aren't dropping. Option now to rise up onto the balls of the feet. And keep the arms reaching back, keep the heels lifted as you roll your spine back down with control. Be a little wibbly wobbly on that descent. Roll your way down, all the way down. And then when the hips touch down, bring both knees back in towards the chest. We'll keep the head and shoulders on the floor this time. Lovely. So we'll go back to that little circle of the knees, hands on the knees initially, taking the knees round together this time in a little circle. So the legs are acting as one unit. First in one direction, and then take them round the opposite way. Now, let's pause knees into chest. Now, you can either repeat that version with your hands on your knees if your back feels a little tight today, or bring the arms out level with your shoulders, like the top of a letter T. You can always add a little cactus if you're tight for space. And then resume that circle of your knees, keeping the knees together, circling them around. And again, you might find that you're having to wake up those abdominal muscles to control that circling. The further away the knees go from you, the harder the work you're putting on the abs. And then just change direction. So you can always make that circle a little smaller. Or you can bring your hands back onto the knees, not rushing, taking them around in a small circle or a big circle. Lovely. Now let's pause now, bringing the knees back in towards your chest. We'll take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's drop the knees over to the right, coming into a little twist. So you can keep your knees quite tucked up towards your chest or slide them further away from you. Knees dropping down to the right side. And let's take the arms over to the left. So bring that right hand maybe to the center of your chest, or perhaps to rest on your left shoulder. Just let that right elbow drop down to the middle of your chest and maybe turn your gaze over your left arm. So we're getting a little shoulder stretch as well as a lovely twist. Knees to the right, arms over to the left. Lovely. And then we'll trail the right arm back across the chest, bringing the arms out level with the shoulders. Breathing in to bring those knees back to your chest. And as you breathe out, we'll tick-tock the knees over to the left, coming into that twist over to the left side. Remember, you can slide those knees further away from you. And once you're settled into that twist, we'll take the arms over to the right this time. So this time the left hand either just rest on your chest so you can relax your elbow, or it comes over a little further to your right shoulder. And again, you might pick up your head and just look over your right arm this time. Lovely game of Twister, isn't it? The knees to the left, arms in the opposite direction, over to the right. So a little stretch in the back of the left shoulder. Lovely. And then we'll trail the left arm once more across your chest. Arms out in that letter T shape. Use an inhale to bring the knees back in towards your chest. And then one hand on each knee. Last little bit. Let's cross the ankles and take the knees a little wider. And just resume that little circle now with the knees wide. So you might feel that you can just get into the sides of the buttocks now. A little massage. And then we'll change direction, changing the hook of your ankle if that's comfortable. And deciding how you want to make your way up to seated today. So you might just want to roll to one side, or if you're feeling a bit more energetic, hold behind your knees and roll your way up. Beautiful. Now I'm going to sit with my right leg crossed in front of my left leg. You can always prop yourself up on cushions, or you can stretch your legs out in front of you if that's uncomfortable. Lovely. So let's find a nice long spine, fingertips to the floor, so you can just lift your chest a little bit higher. Lovely. And then breathing in, we'll sweep the arms all the way up. Maybe the palms touch. And as you breathe out, we'll bring the hands down to the heart. Lovely. As you breathe in, we're going to interlace the hands and take the elbows up. And as you exhale, let's push the palms forwards and sit towards the back of your sit bones, making that lovely C shape through the spine. Nice stretch between the shoulders. Next breath in, we'll reach the arms up. And breathing out, bring the hands all the way back down alongside you, back where we started. We'll do that one more time. So inhale, reach up. Exhaling, hands down to the middle of your chest, down to your heart. And then inhaling, elbows high as you interlace the hands. And then as you exhale, really get that sense of spreading the shoulder blades left to right. Breathing in, we'll reach up. And breathing out, we'll bring the hands down, ready to come into a little side stretch. So left arm lifting, breath in. And breathing out, let's soften that right elbow as we take the arm overhead. Lovely. Inhale to center. And exhale over to the other side. So you can tuck your chin in and look up. That kind of slightly deepens the stretch, I think. So we'll do one more each way. Have a little play with the position of your head. You can always keep the gaze down. And that's left elbow, try and relax it now. Let it drop in towards your waist as you come over the top. Both arms lifting this time, big breath in. As we breathe out, let's take a twist to the right. So that left hand's going to come across the body, landing on your thigh or knee or maybe your shin. And take the body round in that twist, twisting to the right. And on your next inhale, so if you can lift your chest a little bit higher. And as you exhale, maybe turn your gaze over your back shoulder, only if that's comfortable for the neck. Lovely. Coming back to center as you inhale, reaching both arms up. And as you exhale, we'll just come over to the other side. So this time, right arm comes across the body. Other hand snuggles behind you so you can sit right on top of your sit bones. Big breath in to lift your chest a little higher. And breathing out, maybe again, a little head turn. Lovely. Breath in, reaching the arms up. Back over to the right as you exhale. So left hand coming down onto the top of your thigh or your knee this time. Gently press that right thigh down toward the floor. And then we're going to reach the right arm up and lean over on the diagonal. So that knee's going to want to pop up. So keep pressing the knee gently away. We're opening up through the hip. Lovely. So reaching that right arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift the knees and cross your right arm on top of your left arm, just so you've got hold of your kneecaps there. And then let the knees fall away from you. And again, drop your chin in towards your chest. You're pressing the knees gently away from you, getting that stretch between the shoulder blades. Oh, I can feel that this morning. And then letting go of the knees very gently. Sweep the arms up in front of the face like you're taking off a big jumper. And then we'll bring the hands all the way back behind you now, fingertips to the floor. You lift the chest. Maybe lift your chin up a little bit. Lovely. Sweeping the arms up, big breath in. This time as you breathe out, we're going to bring the fingertips down to the floor in front of you. Now, option just to stay there, or maybe walk your hips back and take your hands forwards into that forward fold. So it really does depend on how comfortable that feels. Lovely. Beautiful. And then we'll walk the hands back and just change the cross of your legs. So we'll bring the left leg in front of the right leg. So again, you can always extend the legs if that's uncomfortable. Fingertips to the floor, just alongside you, lifting up through the breastbone. And then breathing in, reaching the arms up. Let's do all of this on the other side. Exhaling, hands to heart, working with the breath. Interlacing the hand, elbows high. Exhale as you push the palms forwards, sitting towards the back of your sit bones. Inhale as you reach the arms up. And exhaling, maybe the arms travel a little bit further back behind you, opening up through the chest. Last time, inhaling up. And exhaling, hands down to heart. Lovely. Interlacing them one last time, elbows high, big breath in. And breathing out, rounding the back, hugging navel to spine. Lovely. Big breath in, reaching the arms up. And last time, separating the arms in that lovely big circle. Lovely. So this time it's the right arm that lifts, big breath in. And exhale, soften that left elbow up and over the top. You can tuck the chin in again, remember. Inhale to center. Over to the other side. So trying to keep nice and balanced across your sit bones as you get that lovely stretch through the side of the body. One more each way. You might find one side feels a little stiffer than the other. Wrist feels stiffer on my right side for some reason. All the way over the top, lovely. And then we'll reach both arms up towards the ceiling, breath in, coming round to the left in that twist first of all this time. So right hand travels across the body. See if you can sit up a little bit taller. And then maybe turn your gaze over that back shoulder, opening up across the chest. Breath in to come back through center, arms lift. And breathing out, we'll just come over to the other side. So a simple twist, over to the right this time. Left hand travels across the body. Sitting up nice and tall as you breathe in. And then breathing out, seeing if you can find a little bit more space. Lovely. Inhaling back to center. I'm going to take that twist back over to the left, bringing that right hand to your thigh or your knee. And gently press that knee or thigh away from you as you sweep the left arm up and over. So you're reaching overhead on the diagonal, trying to keep the space in the hip by gently pressing that thigh away from you. Lovely. We'll reach up towards the ceiling and we'll try and lift the knees and wrap left arm on top of right arm this time. So you might be holding onto your knees, you might just have hold of your thighs then, side of your thighs. So gently let the legs fall away from you. So you're making a little C shape through the spine again. We're not overdoing that because it's a little bit loading for the back. And then letting the knees just gently fall away from you so you can release the arms in that big circle all the way up. Fingertips finding the floor behind you. So it's a lovely one to open the chest, open the heart. Pressing into your fingertips, loop the shoulders away from the ears as you maybe lift your chin. Lovely. And then reaching the arms up, back into one last forward fold. So this time fingertips find the floor. And I always like to kind of waddle my hips back a little bit to create some space and then ease your way down. So you might tuck your chin in. Let's feel that nice space through the back and the neck. Lovely. And then just walking the hands back towards you, and I'm just going to roll over my ankles to come onto all fours, but that might not suit your knees or ankles. So finding your way onto all fours when you're ready, with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. So spread the hands nice and wide. Just take care your knees aren't too close to your wrists, and so you're already rounding the back. We want a nice long back and long belly, ready for our cat and cow. So as we inhale, tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart pulls forwards. Try lifting your chin just a little way so we're not scrunching the back of the neck. And then exhale, a little bit late, but an angry Halloween cat, only by a day or so. So inhaling, heart pulling forwards. And then that little tailbone tuck under, like a little greyhound tucking his tail between his legs. Now, if you're a little tight in your shoulders today, as we do a couple more of those, feel free to widen your hands, just to afford you more space. I kind of quite like that variation where my hands are a little further apart. Lovely. Let's do that just one more time. Inhaling. And exhaling, tucking the tailbone, letting the chin fall. And then finding that nice neutral spine now. Keep pressing into your hands as you slide your right leg back behind you, just coming onto the ball of the foot, and we'll take some gentle rocks back and forth, trying to keep the knee straight, maybe rolling over your toe joints there. Ooh, my toes get, oh, and my feet always get really tight. I think because I'm doing the yoga. So nice stretch out through the feet. And then we're going to push the heel away from you as you come to stillness, all firmness through the lower belly. Now, if this version doesn't work for you, feel free to bring both knees back underneath you. You're going to shift the weight into your right hand and take your left arm up as you breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to feed the left arm under the right arm as we thread the needle, but we're keeping that leg straight. Lovely. So inhale, we take the left arm up, trying to keep your hips square to the floor. And exhale, feed the arm underneath. Beautiful. So this time let's reach the arm up, breath in. As you breathe out, bring the hand down, and we've got the option to just repeat that one twice more, or for a little balance challenge, try lifting that leg level with your hip. So left arm lifting, inhale. And as you exhale, we feed the arm underneath. Woo, don't go down too far, wibble wobble. Inhale, take the arm up. Remember, you can always bring the ball of the foot to the floor. And exhale, just one more. Oh, I can feel that this morning. Let's take the arm up, bring the ball of the foot back down to the floor. And as you bring your hand back under the shoulder, we'll slide both knees back under the hips. Lovely. Give the wrists a little shake there. And then we'll try all of that on the other side. So if it is really wibbly wobbly, you can always keep the foot on the floor. So let's start by sliding the left leg back. Keep pressing into your hands so you're not disappearing into your shoulders as you take that little rock back and forth, maybe across the toe joints, stretching out through the back of the leg into the Achilles, the calf. And then as you come to stillness, we're pressing the heel away, pressing into your hands, firming up through the belly. So we've got the left leg extended. So it's the right arm that lifts this time, breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to feed the arm underneath, having a little peep towards the left, and then inhaling, opening the chest, reaching the arm up, trying to keep the hips square to the mat. Exhale, lovely. So one last, reach up towards the sky. And then we'll bring the hand down, and we've got that option now just to stay as you are, bring the knee down, or lift that leg level with the hip. Lovely. So right arm lifting, inhale. Woohoo! Exhale, ready for that balance challenge. Feed the arm underneath, make it a smaller movement. Inhale as you reach the arm up. Lovely. One last time, exhale. So it's great for our core, great to wake up those core muscles. This time we'll raise the arm, lower the ball of the foot to the floor. And then bring both hands down, slide the knees under the hips, breath in. And as you breathe out, let's slide hips back towards heels. Maybe prop yourself up on your elbows so you can give your wrists a little cooling there. Lovely. And then reaching the arms forwards. Really get the sense of stretching the arms forwards, and imagine someone is hugging your hips back towards your heels. Don't worry if your bottom isn't touching your heels there. Take a breath or two into the back of the body, into the sides of the body. Feel it into your armpits, all the way into the sides of the ribs there. And we've got the option to stay there or join me in that little moving flow. So as we inhale, we're going to lift up onto all fours, and exhale, elbows hug in towards your waist as you come all the way down. Lovely. Picking up your chest as you breathe in, back onto all fours, and exhale, hips to heels. Lovely. Let's do that twice more. Lovely one to wake up now. Start a little load bearing through the upper body before we come into our downward dog. So inhale, chest lift, belly lift, thighs lift, and then exhale back into that child pose. One more time. Inhale, rippling the body forwards, and then slowly with control coming all the way down. Lovely. Last time, inhale. And exhale back into that child pose. Beautiful. So let's start to build up a little flow. So this time we'll inhale, just coming onto all fours, tucking the toes under. And as you exhale, let's push the hips up and back into our first downward dog. In that first downward dog today, we can have a little pedal out through the heels, maybe a little shake of the hips, a shake of the head there, just see how that feels this morning. And then coming to stillness, maybe with a nice generous bend in your knees, so you can elevate your hips up and back. Next, inhale, we'll ripple the body forwards to plank. You maybe need to adjust the position of your feet or your hands. And as you exhale, knees down, chest down, all the way down to the floor. Inhaling into your cobra. And as you exhale, push the hips up and back into your child pose, this time with a little variation. So we'll nudge our bottoms over to the right and take both hands over to the left side of your mat. So with the hands resting on the left side of your mat, you can keep them shoulder width apart or rest your right hand on top of your left hand. You get the feeling of stretching the arms away from you on the diagonal as you sit back towards that right heel. And again, don't worry if your bottom isn't touching there. Lovely. And then we'll walk the hands back through center. And then as you shift your hips to the left, it's hands over to the right. Again, shoulder width apart, or left on top of right this time. And again, pressing the hands gently forwards on the diagonal. Try and drop that left shoulder so the upper back is nice and balanced there. You might feel it more keenly in one side than the other. And then we'll come all the way back through center, arms in front of you, hips square. Inhaling back onto all fours. And as you exhale, we'll take that downward dog again. And this time we'll bring your feet and your ankles together, or as close together as feels comfortable. Ready for some leg lift. So as you inhale, we're going to take the right leg up and back. And as you exhale, let's lower the foot to the floor. So as we do that, lifting the left leg, trying not to open up through the hips too much, trying to keep the weight even across your hands. Let's do one more, lifting that right leg as you inhale, maybe turning the toes out a little bit if you want a little bit of hip opener. And exhale, foot to floor. Last time, lifting that left leg, inhale. And exhale, foot to floor. Ready for that plank. Inhale, ripple the body forwards to plank. And as you exhale, knees down, chest down, flattening your feet. Lovely. Push into your hands. Inhale into that little cobra. And as you exhale, we'll take a child pose, but this time we'll take the knees a little wider apart, big toes together. Last little variation. So coming up onto the finger pads of your right hand, you're going to feed your left arm under the right arm into that little thread needle. So you're having a peep under your right armpit, maybe feeling a little stretch in your inner thigh if your knees are gently parted. Lovely. And then just changing sides, so coming up onto the finger pads of your left hand as you feed your right arm underneath. So we're trying to open that top armpit toward the ceiling this time, getting a little stretch in the shoulder. Lovely. And then we'll reach both arms straight in front of you. Inhaling back onto all fours. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Last little variation. So we're going to lift the right leg as you inhale. And this time as you exhale, we're going to bend the knee. Point that right knee up towards the ceiling. Let the heel drop towards your bottom. And maybe take a little turn of the ankle there. Just opening up through the hip. And then we'll bring that foot all the way back down to the floor. Changing sides, so breath in to float the left leg up. And breath out to bend the knee, so we're stacking the hips, pointing the knee up towards the ceiling. And again, you can have a cheeky little ankle circle there. Lovely. And then bringing the foot back down to the floor. Inhaling to plank. And this time as you exhale, maybe your knees stay lifted as you lower down. Don't worry if you want to bring them to the floor. Inhale into your cobra. And exhale, last time, back into your child pose. Pausing for a moment. Lovely. We'll start to change our little flow now. So when you're ready, we'll breathe in to come back onto all fours. And breathing out, hips come nice and high, back into your downward facing dog. So right leg lifting, breath in. This time as we breathe out, we're going to step that foot forwards between our hands. So if you can today, we're going to keep the back knee lifted. You can always lower it if you need to. See if you can walk that left foot back so your chest is forwards. So right arm lifts into a little twist, inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hand down and lower the back knee. We'll keep the toes tucked. Both arms lifting into our lovely lunge. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fingertips find the floor. Back knee lifts, right arm lifts. Inhale, back into that twist. Push the heel away from you. Exhale, drop the knee. Hands to floor. Ready for that lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands come all the way down. Lovely, one more time. So as we inhale, we lift the knee. Try not to lift the hips as you open the chest. And exhaling, knee down, hand down. Last time as you sweep the arms up. Inhale. And exhale. Fingertips find the floor. Lift your chest as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's shift the hips back into a little hamstring stretch this morning. Option to keep a deep knee bend and the foot on the floor. Or you can slide that front heel a little further away from you. Swing those hips back to the middle of the mat. Just ease into that hamstring. Say, good morning, hamstring. I missed my yoga last week. Oh. Lovely. Let's roll through that front foot. Plant the hands, pick up the back knee. Option to take a downward dog or take that right leg up and back into a three-legged dog. Yogi's choice. Breath in. As you breathe out, we'll bring the foot to the floor. Let's try that on the other side. So left leg floats up on an inhale. And as you exhale, step or help it forward. Give it a hand if it doesn't quite get there. And again, we're going to walk or slide that right leg back. Knee lifted if you can, so we've got the heart forwards. So remember, you can lower the knee if you want to. Let's take the left arm up into that twist. Breath in. As we breathe out, knee down as the hand comes to the floor. Ready for that lunge. Thumbs pull back. Inhale. And exhale, hands find the floor. Picking up the knee, ready for that twist. Left arm lifting, inhale. Hips stay low. Exhale, hand down. Back knee lowers. Ready for that lunge. Inhale, lift your heart. Woo. Exhale, had a wibble wobble there. Exhale. Last time, lifting the knee as the arm lifts. So we're lifting that left arm and exhaling, bringing the knee down. We're going to keep the knee down this time as we sweep the arms up. One last lunge. Exhale, fingertips find the floor. And try and keep your heart forwards as you inhale. And exhale, we start to move the hips back. So again, you might not straighten that front leg. It might be deeply bent. You might want to slide the heel forward some so you can straighten off the leg and pull the toes towards your face. My hips always swing over to the right there, so I'm moving my hips back to the middle of my mat. Lovely. Oh, I can feel that this morning. Let's roll through the front foot. So we're going to plant the hands, pick up the back knee. Option for downward dog, or join me, left leg up and back into that three-legged dog. And then we'll bring the feet down to the floor. Lovely. Back in our downward dog. So this time we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, coming to the back of your mat in a forward fold. Walking the hands up the legs. Going to rise up to stand. Take your time. Lovely. Head comes up last. Breath in, sweep the arms up. And as you breathe out, we're going to circle the hands behind you so we can interlace them. And drawing the knuckles down, straightening off through the legs as you lift your heart. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bend the knees as you come forwards and down. Option to lift the arms up and over, or just bring the hands down to the floor in front of you. I'm going to keep my knees bent for this first one, just to allow my hamstrings to warm up. And then let's release the arms. Sweep your fingertips to the floor and then forwards and up as you rise up to stand, taking a breath in. As you breathe out, let's send the hips back into a little chair pose there. So hips come back, you can always bring your arms a little bit lower to your heart or shoulder height. One last breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to come back into that forward fold, fingertips finding the floor. Inhale, let's pad the hands forwards to plank, unrolling through the spine. And as you exhale, knees lifted or lowered all the way down to the floor. Inhaling into your cobra, or maybe an upward dog, pressing into the palms of the hands and the tops of your feet. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Beautiful. From your downward dog this time, let's walk our feet towards our hands, coming to the top of the mat. Bend your knees as you go. Walking the hands up the legs. So we're at the top of our mat now. Breath in to sweep the arms all the way up. And exhaling, lift the shoulders away from the ears as you bring the hands behind you so you can interlace them. So draw the knuckles down, open up across the chest, breathing in. As we breathe out, we'll come forward. So I'm going to bend my knees as I come forwards, arms coming up and over if you wish. And this time, maybe in that forward fold, you can straighten the legs a little bit more. Let's release the arms. Now sweep the arms forwards and up as you breathe in, rising up. And then breathing out, let's sink the hips back into that chair pose. Remember, you can drop the arms. Let's breathe in. And as you breathe out, we'll hinge forwards back into that forward fold. Lovely. Taking two big steps back into your downward facing dog. Lovely. Coming down onto all fours as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's take a moment in child pose. Extending the arms forwards, hips coming down towards your heels. Beautiful, well done. Lovely. Let's take a moment to pause there. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then when you're ready, joining me back on all fours and back up into that downward facing dog. For your downward dog, you're going to walk your feet forwards now, coming to the top of your mat. And sliding the hands up to your thighs. So shins and up to your thighs, finding that lovely flat back position. So slide the shoulders down away from the ears, firm up through the belly. Option to keep your hands on your thighs or reach the arms out left to right, that big aeroplane wings. And then bringing the hands back to the thighs, this time turning your fingertips to face each other. Soften your knees and make that lovely rounded shape through the back, the angry Halloween cat. Tuck the tailbone under, tuck your chin in. And then from there, unravel the spine as you roll up to stand. Lovely. I'm just going to turn around to the top of my mat so I'm facing you. Let's bring the hands to the heart. If you can, we're going to bring the feet together. If that's a little bit too wibbly wobbly, then Obviously, keep them a little bit further apart. We're going to breathe in. And as you breathe out, coming back into that chair pose, this time hands to heart, squeezing the knees and the inner thighs together. Let's rise on up to stand. Option to stay there, or fix your gaze forwards as you lift up onto the balls of the feet, trying to keep the ankles squeezing together. And then lower those heels with resistance, breathing in. Breath out as you come back down into that chair pose. So bottom goes back, heart stays lifted. Lovely. Let's rise on up to stand, doing that once more. Option to stay there, or again, trying that little balance, lifting up onto the balls of the feet, squeezing everything together. And then again, lower those heels with resistance. We're going to add on, breath in. You're loving this, Barry. Breathing out, lower those hips back. Option now to bring the arms up into that lovely wide V, spreading the fingers, softening the shoulders, and then rising up to stand. And again, option to lift up onto the balls of the feet, volcano pose, beautiful. Going to lower the heels, keep the arms lifted now. As you lift your right knee and take a little twist, so the left hand comes across the body, and we reach that right arm back behind you, level with your shoulder, thumb up, just as we did at the beginning in that little twist. Inhale to center. And as you exhale, left knee lifting, and the right arm comes across the body. Left arm reaching back, pause, lovely. Inhaling to center, lower the foot. And as you exhale, bring the hands to the heart. We're going to take a big step back with your right leg, ready for our warrior two. So we're going to turn that back toes to face the long edge of the mat as you arrow the arms out left to right. So we've got the left foot on the middle of the mat, facing forwards, lovely. So we're going to turn both palms up towards the ceiling. As we breathe in, straighten both legs and arrow the arms up above the head. And as you exhale, back into that warrior two, so send the arms out left to right, lovely. So twice more, inhale, reaching up, so you're pressing into the outside edge of that back foot. And then exhale, looking forwards as you reach the arms left to right, lovely. One more time, inhale. So feeling those legs wake up, elongate through the sides of the body. And exhale, warrior two. We're going to add on this next time. So inhale, arms lift. And this time as you exhale, we're going to reach that left arm back. And just let that right arm drop behind you as we reverse our triangle. Inhaling back into your warrior two, front knee bends. And exhale, left forearm to the thigh, and that right arm comes up and over. Lovely. So as we inhale, we're going to straighten both legs, arrow the arms up. Let's do that again. And as you exhale, left arm reaches all the way up and back. Beautiful. Back into your warrior two as we breathe in. And then breathing out, up into that side angle. You can always bring that front hand down a little bit lower towards your shin or your ankle. Adding on, inhale as you straighten both legs, arrow up. And exhale, let's reverse our triangle one last time. Left arm arcs up and back. Bending that front knee as you inhale back into your warrior. And this time as you exhale, look down, hands down, little pivot on that back foot. So we're back into our lovely runner's lunge. Now you've got the option to stay there and then step the feet together, or find a little balance challenge. Walk your hands forwards at that front foot. Push off your back foot and see if you can lift that right leg into a standing split. If that's not for you, just bring both feet together into a forward fold. Lovely. Let's bend that right knee so we can bring the foot to the floor. And on an inhale, sweep the arms all the way out and up. And bring the hands to the heart. I'm just going to come to the other edge of the mat. Beautiful. Let's bring the feet and the ankles together. Big breath in. As we breathe out, let's sink the hips back into that chair pose. And reach the arms up into that lovely wide V. Keep the heart lifted. Going to rise on up. And again, that little balance option to rise up onto the balls of the feet, keeping everything squeezed together. Lovely. Let's lower the heels. Take an inhale. And this time as you exhale, we're going to twist to the left. So that right hand comes across the body. Other arm reaches back. You can look back if you're feeling really brave today. Inhale to center. Exhale, let's come over to the other side. Over to the right, that little twist. Other arm reaching back. Lovely. Inhale to center. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the heart so we can step left leg back this time, ready for that warrior two. So back foot facing the long edge of the mat. Take a moment, I'm going to wiggle my front foot just into the middle of my mat there. And then we'll arrow the arms out left to right. Reaching the fingertips apart, drop the shoulders, and then turning the palms up. As we breathe in, we straighten the legs, reach up, just make sure your bottom isn't poking out there. Try and lengthen the low back. And as you exhale into that warrior one, pressing the front knee over your little toe. And then twice more, inhale. So we push into the feet to rise up. And then sink into that front knee. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears as you exhale, lovely. Last time, inhaling up. Then we're going to add on and exhale with our little reverse triangle this next time. So we'll rise on up, legs straighten, arms lift, inhale. And this time as we exhale, it's the right arm that arcs back. We just let that left arm drop behind us. Back into your warrior two as we breathe in, front knee bends. And exhale, front forearm to thigh. And we take that top arm up and over, trying to keep the chest lifted. Let's straighten the legs, arrow the arms up, inhale. And then we reach back, lean back as you exhale, lovely. Into our warrior, inhale. And this time as you exhale, if you're feeling open in the hips, you can always bring that right hand down a little bit lower towards your shin or your ankle. You've got to drop your hips to do that. Last time to reach both arms up, inhale. And exhale, last time to reverse our triangle. Oh, it's a lovely stretch for the front of the body. Into our warrior, breathing in. Are you ready for that challenge? Breathing out, we'll bring the hands down. So we take a little pivot on that back foot. So if that little challenge isn't for you today, stay there. Or walk the hands forwards, make a little triangle with the front foot. Push off the back foot, see if you can lift that left leg. So you're gazing towards your right knee. Woo, and then let's bend the knee and bring both feet securely to the floor. Rise on an inhale. Let's sweep the arms all the way out and up. Brilliant, guys. And exhaling. Hands to heart. Let's pause there for a moment. Oh, lovely. Did you like that little balance challenge? Thought I'd throw that one in for you this morning. So we've got another little balance. You can always use a wall. You can always, again, use Dr. Floor. So as you shift your weight to your left foot and just peel your right heel up, remember the option just to rest your heel on the top of your foot. Or use your big toe as a kickstand. If you are lifting the sole of the foot up a little higher, make sure you're not popping your hips out to the side. So we're lifting up nice and tall, lifting up through the breastbone. So you can always put a hand on a wall for a bit of extra support. Now let's see if we can take the arms forwards, taking the palms together. And then turning the palms up, we're going to take the arms all the way out to the side. Reaching the arms up towards the ceiling. Lost my arms. And then bring the hands all the way back down to the heart. Let's see if we can do that one more time with the breath. So as we inhale, we take the arms forwards. Don't worry if you wibble wobble. And as you exhale, let's open the arms out to the side. Breath in to reach the arms up. Beautiful. Breathing out. Last time, hands to heart. And we'll release that foot to the floor. Well done, guys. Sometimes balance is wibbly wobbly. Sometimes it works like a dream. You never know, do you? So if balance is less than a dream today, if it's more of a nightmare, feel free again to adapt or use a prop. So we'll peel up the left heel. So again, the tree pose is all about hip opener. We add the balance. So that might be your tree today. You might be coming up onto the ball of the foot, or again, bringing the sole of the foot up a little higher. And if you are snuggling into your inner thigh, again, lift up nice and tall out to that standing leg. Now, if the arms are beyond you, just work on your balance. Or let's take the arms forwards. Open the palms towards the ceiling as you open the arms. And then we reach up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the waist. And then bring the hands all the way back down. Should we try that one more time with the breath? Inhale, take the arms forwards. Exhale as you open them out to the side. Breath in to reach up. And last time, breathing out, hands to heart. And bring the foot to the floor. That one felt decidedly wibbly wobbly on that side. Have a little shake of the legs. And then let's come down onto the floor. So deep knee bend. Inhale, back to the security of the floor, reaching up all the way down as you exhale, hinging forwards. Finding your halfway lift as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bend the knees and just come down onto all fours. So drop down onto one shin and then the other shin. We'll bring the knees and the ankles together. We'll pick up your lower legs, pivot on the knees, flick your feet to one side, and then drop your bottom down so you can swish both legs out in front of you. Very elegant way to come down. Give the knees a little bend there. And then when we're ready to breathe in, reaching the arms up. And then coming down into that lovely forward fold. So bend your knees as much as you need to. And if your back or hamstrings feel super tight today, really be generous with that knee bend and maybe just wrap your hands, your arms underneath your thighs there. So you can let your forehead drop towards your knees. Otherwise, your hands might be on your thighs, your shins. Some of you might find your feet. Just ease the body down there. Nice and gently. A sense of forcing the body into a position that feels really uncomfortable for backs or hamstrings. Lovely. And then we'll walk the hands back up the legs and just slide your right heel in towards you. So we can keep the foot on the inside, or you can cross it over to the outside. And some of you might even want to lean into that left buttock so you can hook the heel back behind you. So you're sitting between your heels, but make sure you can bring your bottom to the floor. So we'll bring our left hand or elbow onto that right knee and then take a nice big circle with the right arm, opening up through the chest, fingertips either to the floor, just behind your right buttock. If you're opening the shoulders, you might be able to walk your hand round behind your left buttock. You might even just want to rest your hand on your lower back. So whatever we're doing, sitting up nice and tall, see if you can lift your chest a little bit higher, just as we did at the beginning. And maybe take your gaze over that back shoulder. Lovely. And slowly, slowly unravel. Now, if like me, you've got everything crossed, you're just going to bring your hands down so you can lean into your hands. Re-extend that left leg. We'll bring that right heel once more in towards your groin so you can let the knee open. So we've just got the left leg extended in front of us this time. So breathing in, reaching up, and breathing out, just coming over the left leg. So you might find that the chest wants to kind of dip one way or the other. So can you square yourself up over that extended leg? Lovely. And then as you walk the hands back, let's take that left leg out on a slight diagonal. So we've still got that right heel snuggled in towards the groin. Left hand on your thigh or your shin. Let's reach the right arm up and overhead. Coming into a lovely side stretch. And then we'll take the gaze down towards your left knee and just wrap that top arm around your low back. So slot the back of the right hand into your low back. So we're getting a little stretch for the neck. Beautiful. And then we'll rise on up, bringing the right hand down just behind your right hip. You're going to point the toes of the left foot and sweep the left arm in front of the face. Now, option to stay there or push the hips forwards, and we'll take the gaze down towards your right hand there. And then slowly sweep the arm back in front of the face as you lower the hips. Pop the legs out in front of you, give them a little shake, shake. And then we'll slide the left heel in towards you. So all of that on the other side, left heel might, or left foot might stay on the floor on the inside. You can cross it to the outside, or again, you can add that little hook, but just make sure you've got space for your bottom. So we're sitting up nice and tall there. Right hand on the knee. If you've got to lean forwards to use your elbow, that's fine, but then lift yourself up again. And then draw that big circle with the left arm, so we're opening up through the shoulders before you find the floor again behind your left buttock. Maybe walking fingertips behind your right buttock if you're very open in the shoulder, or just resting a hand on your low back. Somewhere where you can really open across your collarbones and just sit into that twist there. I always find it easier to twist on one side than the other. We are all kind of stronger on one side, aren't we? Lovely, and then we'll slowly unravel. So if, like me, you've got all of that twisted around, we're going to lean into the hands so we can re-extend the legs nice and safely, sliding that left heel back in. So we can drop the knee open. Remember, you can prop something underneath the knee or just bring the sole of the foot a little lower down that right leg if it's uncomfortable. Breath in to reach up and breath out forwards over the right leg this time. So again, we're trying to keep the chest nice and square over that extended leg if we can. Chin tucking in ever so slightly. And that's it. And then we'll walk the hands back. So again, we can just take that leg out on a diagonal. You might need to bring that left heel in and readjust your hips a little bit. So right hand on the thigh or the shin. We'll breathe in to reach up and breath out to come over into that side bend. And then we'll take the gaze down towards right knee. So we can wrap that top arm around your lower back. So just see if you can just take your gaze down and think about rolling that top shoulder open so I can feel a nice stretch there across my chest and into my neck. And then we'll lift on up. Left hand coming just down behind your hip. We'll point the toes. Option to stay there as you sweep the arm in front of the face. Or push the hips up, coming into that little hip opener. Tiny hint of a back bend. And then we'll slowly, slowly lower the hips, sweep the arm in front of you, and extend the legs and give them a shake. Lovely. And then bending the knees. We'll plant the feet about hip width apart. Roll your way down onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Oh, give them a big squeeze. And maybe have a little rock side to side. And then keeping the hands on the knees. Let's again lift head and shoulders. Coming towards your knees, and maybe you can come a little bit closer than you did at the beginning of the practice. And then lower the head, bring the feet down to the floor, hip width apart. Lifting the hips, reaching the arms back behind you as you come into that little shoulder bridge. And then as you roll your way down, we bring the arms all the way back down as the hips touch the floor. Gathering those knees up to your chest. Giving them a squeeze, maybe again, lifting on up, nose towards knees. And then lowering the feet as you bring the arms down alongside you. Ready for that shoulder bridge, lifting the hips, reaching the arms all the way back. And then lowering all the way back down. Let's do that just one more time. So slowing down the movement, slowing down the breath, bringing the knees up. Bringing them down to the chest again. If you want to come up into that little ball, tuck the chin in. And then last time to bring the feet down, let the arms drop. And then pressing into the feet, reach the arms back as you lift those hips up. And we'll pause there, stretching the knees forwards, lengthening the fingertips back. And again, option to rise up onto the balls of the feet. And lower the spine down, keep the arms where they are. Lengthening your tailbone down, down, down the mat. And then when your bottom touches the floor, slide one leg out in front of you and then the other into that lovely full body stretch. You can have a little bit of movement there. You can arch your back. You can slide into one side and then the other, stretching through the sides of the body. And then slowly let the body relax. Maybe bring the arms back down alongside you or resting a hand on your chest or your belly. You can let your heels roll in, your toes flop apart, or maybe walk your feet back in towards you, resting your inner knees against each other if your back feels a little tight today. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. As you breathe out, let your body just sink into all that beautiful space that you've created this morning with the movement. So as you take a moment of stillness, let me remind you of those beautiful words by Uli Kay I read at the beginning. Being still does not mean the absence of noise, but rather the ability to sift through the chaos to find silence, knowing with confidence that you will remain present and peaceful, hope-filled and grounded, despite what disaster the storm may have planned. So just for a moment, can you let everything settle? And maybe just for a moment you find a glimpse of that inner stillness and quietude that we know is there. And the more we practice our yoga, the more able we are to access that. So enjoying and relishing a moment. All the noise has stopped. Nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to be doing, just for a moment. So when you're ready to rejoin the noise, hopefully not too much chaos and certainly no storms to blow us off course this week. Just start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body, maybe just a little roll across the back of your head, wiggle of your fingers, a roll across your heels. And you might want to lift the arms back up above your head, coming into that lovely full body stretch just for a moment, enjoying that space behind you and in front of you and above you. And then bring the knees back in towards your chest. Rolling over to one side, right or left, it really doesn't matter. And then come to join me in a seated position. Lovely. Let's bring the fingertips to the floor. See if you can lift your chest, soften the shoulders. The shoulders away from the ears. It's getting to that time of year, isn't it, where they creep up throughout the day against the cold. So as you breathe in, let's sweep the arms up. And as you exhale and bring the hands to your heart, thank you very much for joining me this morning. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I think that's a lovely poem. Let's stop that.